Adra. Adra. Okay. Good evening, all of you. We are here to have a look at the cultural history of Himachal Pradesh, which is conducted by the Ek Bharath Shreshth Bharath Club of Maharaja's College, Ernakulam. Ek, Ek Bharath Shreshth Bharath programs aim to enhance interaction and promote mutual understanding between people of different states of India and the union territories through a concept of state and union territory pairing. The state carry out activities to promote a sustained and structured cultural connect in the areas of language learning, culture, traditions, and music, and tourism and cuisine, sports, and sharing of best practices, etc. On behalf of the EBSB of Maharaja's College, Ernakulam, I welcome all of you to this wonderful evening where our two students of second BA Literature will be presenting a presentation on cultural history of Himachal Pradesh. So I welcome all of you to this wonderful evening and enjoy the session. Thank you. I welcome our beloved students Arjun T. Mohan and Abhinav Shaiju to have the presentation. Thank you.
Shall I start, ma'am?
Yes. Shall I have the presentation now?
Yeah, ma'am. Please show me the slides.
Okay. Can you see the slides now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So let me start by introducing myself. I am Arjun T. Mohan, a second year student of English Language and Literature at Maharaja's College, Ernakulam. And some of you watching this program might be first year students, which I believe. So I will give you a brief introduction about our Ek Bharata Shreshth Bharata Club, which ma'am has already given, but I'll repeat once more. So, Ek Bharata Shreshth Bharata Club. Now, this is a club or a program initiated by the central government in order to have a cultural integration for the purpose of cultural integration and cultural exchange in the form of language, tradition, and cuisines, tourism, and also we have Himachal Pradesh as our pair. And today I'm gonna show you some slides of the culture and the tradition of the Himachal Pradesh, and I will give you a brief description and a briefing about the culture and what is shown in the slides. So, ma'am, please show me the slides. First slide, please. So first one is the Himachal Pradesh geography. The geography of Himachal Pradesh, like Himachal Pradesh is the northern state of our nation, and which shares northern border with the Jammu and Kashmir, and the eastern border with the it also shares border with the independent portion of Tibet, and with the southern portion with the western portion with Punjab, and southwestern with the Uttaranchal and Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh, and so it also shares borders with the autonomous region of Tibet. And second slide, ma'am. I have some connectivity issues, so I switched off my videos. Himachal culture, so it remains largely untouched by the external customs maybe due to its geographical features, because like it's a mountain, it's mountains and its geographical terrain, mainly unapproachable before a few years. And Himachal is a multilingual, multi-regional, and um, multilingual state, like every other Indian states, and most common languages spoken in Himachal Pradesh is Hindi and Pahari. Ma'am, next. So, speaking about the ethnic groups, 90% of the population of Himachal Pradesh is Hindus, and its major communities includes Brahmins, Rajputs, Kennets, etc. And one of the greatest speciality of the state, maybe its tribal population, uh, Gaddis, Kinners, Gujars, Pangavals, and Laholis, and these are the five major tribal population of Himachal Pradesh. And I will briefly explain what are the traditional occupation of these tribal communities. And first one is Gaddis. Gaddis are the shepherds, and they are the most adventurous people, and they rear mainly sheep, and they are well known for their adventures. And second one is Kinners, and they are pastoral people who inhabited in the hilly tracts of Kinnors, and they practice polygamy. And most important speciality of this tribal group is this they practice polygamy even now, and it is one of the few communities in our nation in which polygamy is still prevailing. Gujjas, the third one is Gujjas, the people of Aryanic origin, making their livelihood by rearing buffaloes and herds. The fourth one, Pangavals, belong to Panji area of Chamba district and have a composition of both high and low caste Hindus. And the fifth one is Lahori tribes, and they are predominantly Buddhist. So moving on to next slide. Next slide, ma'am. Okay, moving on to the festival in Himachal Pradesh. Festivals, as you know, represents the cultural uniqueness of a group, a community, or a state. Today, I will share with you a few important festivals of the Himachal Pradesh. First one is, as you can see, Kulu Dasra. And every year in the month of October, a grand fair is organized in the Dalpur Maidan of Kuluwali. And it commences on Vijayadashami and continues for the next 7 days. Like if you're planning to visit Himachal Pradesh, sometimes you can ask for this travel package on these days, special days, because it would be beautiful, and it would be a very remembering kind of experience for you. So next slide, ma'am. So next, Losar. Next festival is Losar, and it's a religious festival of Himachal Pradesh to celebrate the uniqueness of Tibetan ethnicity in Himachal Pradesh, and it has a speciality. It's with the Losars that New Year starts in Tibetan calendars, so that's a speciality with the Losar festival, and it's actually this New Year in Tibetan calendar commences with Losar, and it's a festival celebrated for nearly 15 days in the month of February. But its main events takes place in the 3 days from February 24 to 26, and it has its roots in the Tibetan Buddhism and was started as a part of celebrating an agrarian event. The pulsating music accompanied by the rhythmic dance steps is the major attraction of this festival. Moving on to next slide. Halda. This is the third important festival of Himachal Pradesh, and it's one of the beautiful festival of Himachal Pradesh, and closely resembles our Deepavali, the festival of lights, and celebrated during Magha Purnima. And it's a 2 day grand festival celebrated in the secluded region of Lahore Valley, and it has its roots in the Lama traditions of the valley, dedicated to the goddess of wealth. And it's the most awaited festival of Himachal Pradesh, and it's about family and community gatherings. So Halda festival is also considered as a celebration of life. Next slide. So next one is Sazo Festival, and this is an ancient festival celebrating the religious fervor and spiritual ecstasy to the whole valley of Kannur. And this festival is mainly celebrated among the Kinnars. Locals considers this particular time as a time period where their deities will go back to heaven. So they take hot baths in the Satluj River, aiming at cleansing their souls and bodies of every sin. So this celebration ends with the traditional music, amounts to a musical kind of feast of Himachal Pradesh. So next slide. So moving on to the last and fifth important festival of Himachal Pradesh, and it has its roots in the epic of Mahabharata, and it's also known as the Hadimba Devi's Fair, since it's celebrated as the birthday of Hadimba, Bhim's wife. This fair is organized on Basant Panchami, the day marking the arrival of spring season. The spirit the spirit of festivity is heightened with traditional dance and folk music by the people in colorful traditional costumes. So this is my part, and it's a wonderful experience to meet you all through, though it's a virtual platform. Thank you, Sharmila ma'am and Disha ma'am, for this wonderful opportunity. And my friend Abhinav will carry on this session from now. Abhinav, please.
So thank you very much, Arjun. And once again, it's my privilege to be a part of the program organized, to be a part of the program organized by the EBSP Club Ek Bharat Shreshth Bharath, which is indeed a very novel concept of the central government, wherein, it's kind of a student exchange program, but the Indian tradition, but in the Indian way. We always have our own means, right? The kind of culture that we follow is not similar to the Western culture. And similarly, I feel in Western cultures, we have the student exchange program wherein you get to exchange your colleges. For example, in the United States, if you are living in New York, you get to study in California for a month or a fixed period of time, so that you get accustomed to their culture and lifestyle. Similarly, I think I would like to identify EBSB as the Indian version of the student exchange program, wherein we are getting to know more about the culture, lifestyle, tradition, and many more of our fellow states. And thankfully, luckily, we have got the state of Himachal Pradesh, which is one of the most interesting, which is one of the most sought after tourist destination, especially for we Keralites. Whenever it is November, December, January time, the first thing that comes to our mind when we talk about travel is Himachal Pradesh. So Arjun has given you a total briefing about the kind of festivities that is going on in Himachal Pradesh, given you a total, I would say a total outlook, a comprehensive outlook about what the state's geography is all about. Well, as we all know, Himachal is one among the 11 mountainous states of the country. And Here I begin with the major dance forms. See, Nati is one of the major dance forms of the state. Like we have Mohiniyattam, like Tamil Nadu is Bharatanatyam, Kuchipudi, Oriya for Odisha, like that. There are iconic dance forms with which states and cultures identify. Similarly, Himachal Pradesh has a variety of them, and one among them, I would say the first among them is Nati, which is one of the most popular dance forms in the state. It is a folk dance which is believed to have originated in the Sirmaur district. However, it is also popular in the Kulu and Shimla districts of the state. Talking about the dance forms, if we go in detail, it is indeed a heavy subject. We came to know that this dance form has 7 types and is performed during cultural programs. And also, another interesting fact that we should learn about Nati is it holds the world record as the largest folk dance in the world. It is not something silly, or it is not something that you should just smile and keep away. Nati is in a country where we are having a diverse background in cultures, traditions, and dance forms. Nati holds the distinction. Nati stands apart just because it is the largest folk dance in the world, and even Guinness Book of World Records has documented Nati to be it. So, ma'am, shall we move to the next slide?
Yes, can you see now? I think
No, ma'am.
the slides are there. Major dance forms. Can you
Major
see?
dance forms, we will go to the next slide. Now it's Nati. We'll go to the second one.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
So the second one is demon dance. Okay, by looking at the picture itself, you get a vague idea. When you can see the face, the way the character is dressed up, the way the character is made up for this art form, for this dance form. Well, demon dance is also known as Rakshasa dance, which reflects Himachal's beautiful culture and simple lifestyle. Okay, dating, going back in the roots of its history, we find that it's centuries old and it originated in the Kinnaur region of the state. It is performed by men and women. There is no distinction. There is no differentiation. And also, as you can learn from the picture, it is mandatory for the performer to wear a demon's mask. It literally symbolizes the way the demons were trying to attack the crops. Okay, the crops during the harvest time, the way the demons came to attack the crops and how the gods guarded. So this dance actually conveys those messages. So that's all about demon dance, Rakshasa dance, which is also an identity, a cultural dance form unique to Himachal Pradesh. Now the next slide. Kayang Mala. So, Kayang Mala is a dance form in which dancers form a garland-like pattern by. We all have seen garlands. Like, of course, we all have visited marriages, and we know garland in India, especially for marriage, is one of the most essential items. Okay, without garland, I don't think a husband and wife can get together. Similarly, Kayang Mala is a kind of dance form wherein the dancers make up a shape of a garland. Okay, and this garland-like pattern is made by weaving each other's arm around, and they become sort of the beats of the garland. Every performer is well dressed in the equipment, the kind of decorations, the kind of ornaments they wear. All are very heavy. They're decorated with jewelry. Before commencing the dance, they're supposed to actually drink chang, which is a local drink. So when we talk about Kayang Mala, an interesting fact that comes to my mind, especially about Himachal Pradesh, is see in Himachal Pradesh there is actually a village named Malana, which is actually isolated. The reason why I mentioned about this is Malana is actually very distinct from all other regions of India. Probably it is believed that historic records and documents state that Malala is actually the world's oldest democracy. Remember, democracy was a concept invented by the Greek, right? Democritus and all. We all know those philosophers. But the fact is, even during pre-Aryan times, the country of India, the concept of India came about when the Aryans came and all. And over time, it became the civilization occurred, Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, and the civilization history goes on. But the thing is, what we learn from historic documents is even before the pre-Aryan times, the concept of democracy was there, and Malala was actually considered to be the oldest democracy in the world. So that's one interesting fact which I came across. So sharing it with you guys, ma'am. Let's move on. So from Kayang Mala, we go to the fourth dance form, which is Shand and Shabu. The name seems pretty funny, especially for us. Shand and Shabu Shabu is usually a Malayali typical name, but here in Himachal Pradesh, it actually signifies a dance form. Shand and Shabu dances are two popular dance forms in Himachal Pradesh, which are generally performed at Buddhist monasteries. So this is something to do with the Buddhist culture in the state. In the loving memory of Lord Buddha, they performed this dance form. They are said to have originated in the Lahore and Spiti district of the state. However, they are also performed by locals after the harvesting of crops is finished. During their performances, several musical instruments such as drums and shehnai are played. Nowadays, they have also started using the violin, which I would say is actually a development. As time goes on, we keep on improving, right? We keep on making changes to our lifestyle, eating habits. Similarly, from the traditional musical instruments, they've changed to violin, and probably tomorrow we will see even them using jazz. So another interesting fact which I'd like to share here, we came across two districts. These dance forms originated in the Lahore and Spiti districts of the Himachal Pradesh. The speciality or why Lahore and Spiti is important in the perspective of India, especially in the current affairs, is Lahore and Spiti is two among the many disputed territories between India and China. We all know the conflict going between India and China right now. It is one of the most heavily debated issues, especially in the contemporary scenario. Lahore and Spiti is a matter of dispute, and many a time since Himachal Pradesh and Lahore and Spiti is situated close to the autonomous region of Tibet in China, Many a time there has been instances where the Dalai Lama of Tibet, who has always been one of the most wanted persons, wanted people of the Chinese government, there were many occasions wherein these Dalai Lamas, the spiritual leaders, came into exile, and Lahore and Spiti were the centers, were the exile centers. So, in that sense, Lahore and Spiti, diplomatically and in international affairs, is one of the most important two regions, are two of the most important regions in the current scenario. We learned about the India-China conflict recently about in Sikkim. So these regions are heavily disputed between these countries. So that's it, ma'am. Let's move on. So number five, Cholamba Dance, from Shandan Shabu to Cholamba Dance. You can see how interesting, how unique the names of these dance forms are. Cholamba Dance is one of the oldest known dance forms in the state. As per locals, it is said to have been in existence for centuries. It is a unique dance form which is performed after the killing of a tiger. During its celebration, the skin of the animal is stuffed and its nose is decorated with gold ornaments. After it is done, the locals of the region dance around the dead animal. Over a period of time, it has become a popular dance in Himachal Pradesh. But please don't misunderstand. In every state in India, killing a tiger is still a punishable offense. The dance form still exists, but killing of a tiger is no more in practice. So the Cholamba dance in ancient times were a kind of celebration. Tiger was seen as an enemy, as a predator to the human being. So in a sense, it was opposing the human community, and killing it was indeed celebrated, because tiger, as we all know, is a very fierce, powerful mammal. And this practice, the kind of celebration, the way they celebrated was through this Cholamba dance. And over time, this Cholamba dance, it improved in culture, it improved in tradition, and it still exists. But as I said earlier, the practice of killing a tiger for just doing this dance doesn't exist anymore. And that is all about Cholamba dance. Ma'am, shall we move on? And coming to the food. So before coming to the food, let me talk about Himachal Pradesh. See, we all know that Himachal Pradesh is actually, beautifully. I would say it actually braces the Himalayas. Situated on the western side of the Himalayas, this Himachal Pradesh actually gets its name from these mountains. From the Himalayas, which is extending from the east to west, is divided into three according to height. The most tallest mountains are categorically named under Himadri. The second category is Himachal, which are shorter mountains but not as tall as the tallest ones. And finally comes the Shivalik. So since Himachal has a higher density, higher number of the mountains which come in the second category, the name of the state comes from that. So keeping it aside, let's focus on the food of the state. The rich culture and traditions of Himachal Pradesh are reflected in its cuisine that encompasses a wide range of delicacies, enriching the palate with a plethora of aroma and taste. See, Himachali food varies from region to region. We all know, right? The kind of food that we eat in Kerala is not what you get in Karnataka or Tamil Nadu or even in Andhra Pradesh. So you can imagine what could be the extent of the difference between two states that are separated by nearly 3,000 to 3,500 kilometers. So Himachali food, as I said, varies from region to region. The cuisine of Himachal Pradesh is largely based on the climate and topography of the state, as it is everywhere. While the everyday meal is the usual dal, chawal, sabzi, roti, I had the privilege to visit Delhi recently. So in North India, like you get rice in Kerala, like you get rice in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka. In North India, I would say the national food of that region is this dal, sabzi, roti. Okay, roti is one of the most staple food items of the North Indians, and that is also there. The extent, the influence of that kind of food style, that kind of food habit is also recorded in Himachal Pradesh. Amongst festive food, the traditional meal Dham, lunch served in traditional occasion, like we have sadhya. We don't make sadhya every day, right? It's only we only make them for a festive occasion, like maybe Onam, Vishu, marriages, or any other special functions or birthdays. So similarly, Dham is their sadhya. If sadhya is to Kerala, Dham is to Himachal Pradesh, and the kind of meal that they serve, it's actually a lunch. The kind of meal that they serve, especially during festive occasions. Now, the traditional Dham is celebrated with great enthusiasm. The Dham offers one with an opportunity to be acquainted with the various delicacies of the state. As you can see in the picture, there are a lot of flavors that you get to explore in Dham. Now, we'll move to the next. So now, decoding Dham, the Sadhya of Himachal Pradesh. The traditional Dham differs in every region of the state. See, Dham is a midday meal served to the people in Himachali culture on the occasions of marriage, birthday party, retirement party, or any religious day. As I said earlier, on occasions, on special occasions, Dham signifies celebration. And in Dham, firstly, cooked rice and a type of dal called moong dal is served. After that, a kidney bean shaped pulse known as rajma, madra, is also served. And then paida, pauda, khatta, maki dal. And at the end, they also serve a kind of sweet. We need desserts, right? Which means it's called meetha, but which is served which is made up of kheer, that is made up of rice, milk, and sugar. So it generally signifies the kind of sadhya. If they have meetha bhat, we have palada. If they have rice, we have chor, right? If they have rajma, we have sambar. So that is a kind of comparison. So dham, it actually technically it signifies for easier relation, for easier comparison. I would say it technically signifies the sadhya of Kerala, where you get to experiment with a variety of options and opportunities of flavors, curries, and whatnot. Now we'll move to the next. So handicrafts and painting. Ma'am, shall we move to the next slide? So there is nothing more that you can elucidate on handicrafts and paintings. Himachal Pradesh is one of the most known states for handicrafts and paintings. The kind of souvenirs, especially as I said earlier, Himachal Pradesh is one of the most sought after tourism hubs in the country. Be it the intra domestic tourism, or the international tourism. Himachal Pradesh is always one of the most sought after hubs in the kind of handicraft business, the architecture business. It's actually one of the most booming industries, booming sectors in Himachal Pradesh, just tapping this tourism potential. Himachal is well known for its handicrafts. The carpets, leatherwork, shawls, paintings, metalware, woodwork, and paintings, they're actually worth appreciating. And Pashmina shawl, we also get to receive Pashmina shawl in Kashmir. And as I said, since Himachal Pradesh is also bordered by Kashmir, the influence of the tradition is very much there. And you also get Pashmina shawls, which is also one of the most bought products, which is highly in demand not only in Himachal but all over the country due to the softness of the material, the quality of the material. And another identity of Himachal Pradesh, which I would say, rather than Pashmina shawls, arti crafts, and metalware, I would say is the Himachali caps. There are the Himachali caps is also hand woven, which makes it extra special. And thus, it also, I think, Himachali caps also has the geographical index, which is also a unique thing to products. Indeed, it keeps them apart. It gives them a privileged position among the products. And I believe, according to my memory, Himachali caps have the geographical index. And that's all about the RT crafts and all. Then we'll go to the next one. So exploring the beautiful Devbhoomi, you get to see some photos, and before that, four important destinations in Himachal. So before winding up, as I said earlier, for tourism, usually Kashmir is referred to as the paradise of India, the crown of India, paradise of the world. Tibet is referred to as the rooftop of the world. So Kashmir is known for its valleys, Tibet is known for its mountain, and imagine a place which is situated right between them. It should also be known for its geographical structures, right? So in the state of Himachal Pradesh, you come across mountains, you come across valleys. Shimla is one region. It's also the capital. If my memory is right, it is the summer capital of the state, Shimla, the queen of hills. This place is a wonderful abode for the travelers who love nature. I don't think I need to explain more on Shimla because that's a name which is familiar to even an LKG student in our country, especially in Kerala. Now talking about Kulu is a heavenly valley that is considered to be one of the best destinations for tourists, an amazing place for trekking. See, if you are a travel frenzy person, Kulu, Manali are two places that you would have definitely referred at least once in your Google searches or your internet browsing. So those are the first two destinations, ma'am. The next two. Now, as I said, if there is Kudu, like we say it, if there is Sumesh, we need Ramesh. If there is Krishna, there is Balram. Similarly, Kudu cannot exist alone. Kudu always sought the help of Manali, and thus Kudu Manali makes together one of the most iconic tourist destinations of India in Himachal Pradesh. Manali is an amazing destination for mountain lovers. Earlier we discussed about Kulu. Kulu is actually a region where there are valleys, whereas in Manali it's mountains, snow-capped mountains, and those are also visited by lakhs and lakhs of tourists every year. And the fourth place is Dharmashala. Dharmashala is the winter capital of Himachal Pradesh, and as I if you're a sports fan, if you follow cricket, Dharmashala is another place that you would have definitely come across because the highest altitude cricket stadium in India is situated in Dharmashala, Himachal Pradesh. It was also the home of the IPL franchise team Kings 11 Punjab for roughly 2 seasons. So Dharmashala presents you with all the amazing charm of a hill resort. It's literally like living a dream for people who live in Kerala who bear this heat. You know, Himachal Pradesh is like living in a hill resort, living in a hill station, or rather living in a very much more colder region and enjoying realizing your dream. It's one of the many dream destinations of many Indians as well as world tourists. And talking about Himachal Pradesh, the celebrities that have come from Himachal Pradesh, well, from to the entertainment field, well, many of you are familiar with this name, who has also, garnered attention not through the film industry as well recently by involving in other political issues. Kankana Ranaut is from Himachal Pradesh. Yami Gautam and Preeti Zinta, all these Bollywood stars, actors, they come from Himachal Pradesh. And even talking about the sports sector, the 2012 London Olympics, India's head was held high by Vijay Kumar, who was an army person. He won the silver medal in the 25-meter pistol category. He comes from Himachal Pradesh. And there are even lots of people, Maninder Bisla, Ajay Thakur, Madan Lal, who is also a member of the 1983 World Cup winning team. They all come from Himachal Pradesh. And hence, Himachal Pradesh has always been a significant factor to every Indian perspective, every Indian dimension, and they continue to be. Ma'am, let's move. So these are four photos, four pictures. In clockwise order, I'll read the first one: Haripur Fort, then the Kangra Fort, then the Sujanpur Tira Fort, and the Kotla Fort. Well, these four forts are again tourist destinations, iconic tourist destinations in the state of Himachal Pradesh. Well, though the state is not known for these forts, we all know it's known for its geographic location. But these forts are remarkable. These forts are remarkable structures, and it actually signifies the architecture. It actually points to it throws light to the architecture, the kind of architecture that has existed in the state of Himachal Pradesh. Though the concept of Himachal Pradesh did not exist before independence, we all know it's a state that came into effect after 1947 and all. The deep-rooted influence of cultures ranging from Tibetan to Urdu to Mughalai, everything can be felt while traveling through the state of Himachal Pradesh. Next one. So I don't think there are more beautiful words to wrap up this presentation. Heaven is myth, but Himachal is real. As I said earlier, it's a dream destination for many of us. Even for me, I haven't got the opportunity or I haven't got the chance to visit Himachal Pradesh. But yes, I have made it a point. I have made it a promise that at least once in my life I will visit the Devbhoomi, Himachal Pradesh, one of the most iconic, one of the most scenic, one of the most extravagant, one of the most beautiful states in India. Thank you, ma'am. Himachal Pradesh. Thank you.
Thank you, Arjun, and thank you, Abhinav. And it's one of the dream place of mine too. I want to visit on someday in my life on Manali, one of my dream place in the life. Okay, now thank you both of you for the wonderful presentation. Now I welcome Bhadra Purnima for a vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here to deliver the vote of thanks. I hope I'm audible. So I'd like to begin the duty that is, I'd like to address everyone here and without further ado, deliver the vote of thanks. So I'd like to begin by thanking Sharmila ma'am for welcoming all of us into this wonderful program. And then I'd like to thank thank Arjun and Abhinav, my dear classmates, who delivered an excellent presentation on Himachal and made it look so much more beautiful than it actually is, and informed us about everything they can about it. And thank you for all of those who joined for the program and listened to us patiently throughout. So once again, I'm thanking you on the behalf of EBS Meetup. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you. So the program come to an end. Thank you all.